It's not Thursday, it's Friday, but I'm Matty, and we are on the back of a tremendous performance and result for Hibs in Europe. A 1-1 with heavily fancied Midtjylland in Denmark. A goal for Jamie McGrath in the opening stages, cancelled out by. I don't want to say it was a wonder goal, but it was a good free kick from Midtjylland. So 1-1 was the score coming back. Chris, you were first on, so I will kick off for you. Yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
Do you know, I think if we're taking it as a result, that's literally would have taken that all day long. I think after Ian's comments last week, we were on a bit, maybe a bit wary of what we were going out there to face.
Ian
But
sold us a dummy
ultimately,
on this, by the way.
oh, big time, by the way, because we once we started the game and you looked at them and goes, we can get at this team. Like we pressure them. They are very, very vulnerable. And for the first 10, 15 minutes, you looked and goes, we were at them, pressured them, harried them, had a couple of chances. And you're probably looking at half time going, we probably should have went in 2-0 up. We really should have done when you're looking at the Boyle header, especially. He has to be scoring that. And I think the one that maybe falls to Bowie, I think he's got a chance to reverse that the other way.
Aye.
And knock that in. And I'm just like, we could easily have been two up there. Then you're because you're going at the second half going, yeah, we've absolutely got something to hold on to here. Like they're going to have to come at us, and we're going to then hit them on the break again. And for all, like as you say, for all the possession they had in the second half, I all never felt they were dangerous for a set piece or at the odd time they maybe got to the byline. They couldn't play through us.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look comfortable trying to play through us. It was most try and get the ball wide and swing it in, or get to the byline and cut it back. And we pretty much dealt with it for all intents and purposes quite well. Other than I think the Mbabu header late on, the guy, which
Aye,
by the
it's
way
one of
he
the
was
point
one of,
blank one.
aye, which by
Yeah.
the way he was one of the Sports Direct 5, wasn't he? For Rangers, he was one of the ones
Was
that
he?
came in. Aye, I'm sure of it.
Right.
The Sports Direct 5.
But I think all in all, we've got to be happy. Solid performance. A lot of standout performers within that solid performance. And I'm not going to speak about a certain midfielder. I'll leave that to Joe when we get to him. But
Mulligan was great.
but generally, I thought, I think I'd probably get a big kudos to Warren O'Hara, who was probably the one that everybody was a bit concerned about going into the game. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely first class.
He was brilliant, wasn't
he? Yep.
I had a bit concerned about the midfield, Jeff, going into the game. Like having watched us against Bolton on Saturday, and it's interesting because we spoke about it obviously about how much weight you put in a pre-season friendly and whether or not the players are playing within themselves potentially. But for us to line up with the same midfield of McGrath and Mulligan and Levitt, I was a wee bit worried. But actually, they came flying out the chaps, and the midfield got a grip on the game early on, didn't they?
Yeah, I think quite a few of us were concerned. I never saw the Bolton game, not seen any highlights, but from the feedback, clearly, was it just the midfield that were misfiring, or was it just the whole team just pretty flat? So I was fairly confident that David Gray would get it spot on the day, and he certainly did. I mean, I've just seen a headline from the Observer saying their captain, he said they were caught out by our tactics. It took them by surprise. So that's it's good to know. So David got one over on them. Yeah, the midfield, Mulligan, not one of them was a dud. In the whole team actually. Never mind the midfield. So I was really surprised at how good Mulligan was in that role that he played. I knew he was good, but really that just a bit of an eye opener for me. So we've got an absolute gem on our hands there if he carries on with that sort of progression.
Did he fill a Triantis-sized hole?
Yeah, we've had this discussion. Did we miss Triantis last night? It's hard to tell because
do you think we missed the option off the bench though?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think Triantis. Mulligan played a similar role, I think, to what Triantis played last season, but they're slightly different kinds of players. I think Mulligan is more direct going forward. Triantis is probably a bit trickier. For a big guy, he's got really good feet. But yeah, we didn't miss him last night. It'd be nice to have that option to bring or have them both in there. That'd be a real barrier to the other team. But I don't know. I think Mulligan's maybe quietening down the let's get Triantis back clamour from some of the brigade. I would like to see Triantis back. Just that it's another good body in the squad. But if we don't get him back, hey ho.
I thought it was interesting. I think the thing with Triantis, I was thinking about this earlier, but if you think back to his start of the season, playing in that sort of holding role, that evolved over the course of the season, and Triantis finished the season playing maybe 10, 15 yards further up the pitch. Yeah. And I think probably you're looking for the same from Mulligan. I thought that was like we maybe engaged with their midfield a bit too deep in the second half. Part of that's because they were pushing us back, but I think that maybe that's where Triantis might be the difference, is just having that confidence to engage a wee bit further up the pitch. But I think, Chris, you were spot on. Having the option would be ideal. Where you could switch the two of them. Both very good players. Jeff, what did you think about the defensive performance for the team?
Oh, just absolutely spot on. Could you count even on a couple of fingers the amount of mistakes they made, or let a man run off them, or just absolutely. They looked a proper, well-drilled unit. I'm talking about the three and the keeper. Then you got Jordan and Beta, who became sort of almost a four when they were defending on that side. Every time the guy, their right winger, was it Mbabu, whatever his name was, got the ball, you see Jordan pointing inside to someone else to take, so he just covered the outside and never got past him once. Not once. Got a few crosses in, but yeah. And on the right, the only problem I thought last night, certainly first half, was the right-hand side. There was no shade on Chris Cadden, but a lot of balls getting played behind him, into the space between him and O'Hara, and they were getting a lot of space down that side. We seemed to block that off second half. But yeah, the defence were brilliant. Rocky, Jack Ardale, and Warren O'Hara. The only worry with O'Hara was that he doesn't give us what Miller does going forward. But defensively, he was absolutely spot on last night. And I take a bow, Warren, because I know a few people were concerned about him.
He was brilliant. John, I'll come and get your thoughts in a second. I'm just going to read off a few comments off of YouTube first. So Stevie said, "Evening everyone, cracking result last night. To be honest, I didn't see it coming. Second leg will be an absolute stormer. Tucking into a lamb foul, so we'll enjoy watching without commenting for a bit. Enjoy your dinner there, Stevie. I literally just finished a lamb pisanda before we started. This is why I was on bang on the button.
Did he say a lamb?
A what?
Did he say a lamb foul? A foul?
Yeah.
I would not like to be at his toilet tomorrow morning. I can tell you that for free.
Good luck, Stevie. Me said, shout out to Bowie. He hardly got a sniff. Yeah, his hold-up play was amazing, and he defended the set pieces amazingly. Ronnie said, "Evening bangers, what a great result. We've given ourselves a great chance." Oscar Wild Outdoors said, "The Hibs are back." Green Tea said, "Evening guys, don't think I could breathe for the last 10 minutes. Great result. The BBC live commentary was so negative." Might come back to the BBC on this. An interesting post got put up in our WhatsApp group earlier on, sort of comparing the reaction. So John McGlynn said, "Evening guys, to be cliche as fuck, it was definitely a game of two halves, solid attacking football followed by humping it up the pitch to nibby. Still, a draw is a solid result to bring back to Easter Road." Sandy said, "Evening bangers, is everyone happy tonight? What a result, eh? Come on the cabbage." Green Tea said, "Love the black strip." Yep, we'll come on to that as well. James said, "Big shout out for Smith, great hands." And E2 said, "Just saying hi to all, still well chuffed with last night's result." And Stevie had a wee laughing face at your comment there, Chris, as well. So, John, over to you. Anything that you want to pick out for those comments that you want to start on?
In terms of the BBC, I listened to the radio commentary last night. I couldn't get anywhere near something to stream. It was lovely here, Scott Allen and Joel Murray on the radio. I mean, it was good to have such a Hibs voices. It was just a shame that the commentator didn't decide to describe the game very much. I mean, it's clearly I'd go back to sort of the days of Francie. I mean, where you can actually sit and listen to the radio and understand what was on the pitch and listen to the way that he was crafting it and drawing the picture. Nowadays, they just decide that they're having a chat and there's a football match going on in the background. And funniest bit was probably when I think somebody didn't pick out Cadden with a cross ball. And the commentator turns to Scott Allen and says, "Oh, it's really difficult to see those balls." And Scott Allen goes, "Yeah, for some people." No, but no, it was such a good result. I mean, I saw the team coming out and I thought Rangers 2-0 down after 20 minutes. We moved to a 5-3-2 and beat them 3-1 in the rest of the game. Is that what he's setting up? 5-3-2? And that looks like, from the highlights I've seen, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, and to pick up stuff that Ian said on the time, this is the development of a squad, it's the development of a manager, and it's about putting tactics out that actually work in the games that you're playing. I mean, I've not seen enough of the highlights to sort of be able to comment about individual performances, but yeah, the chances that we had in the game, I thought Bowie had to hit his chance in the first half quite quickly, and it's one of those where you're looking for it to either go through a defender or take a scuff. I mean, and it just didn't quite go. Boyle's header that he missed and it came off his shoulder is probably the big chance that's missed, but you would actually rather have Bowie in that position. But no, good play against a team that are overconfident. I'm shocked that they can come out and say, "Oh, we were surprised by the tactics," because simply that means that nobody has done any homework on Hibs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a vast majority of fans looking at that, seeing Jordan Abita putting it left back, we're seeing a flat back five. I mean, seeing three screening in front with the idea of a fast break. So, no, credit to Gray and the coaching team and the players for actually having a plan for a big game against a strong team who spend an awful lot of money on players and whose manager is super confident and is probably giving us the sign for the training ground for all of next week, which is we will win.
What does it say about David Gray, John? Like this was his first European, competitive European matches as head coach, and really treated it like a pro.
Looking from the outside, I think we were all really hopeful and delighted about what we saw as a character that was going to take on leading the club as a head coach just over a year ago. What I think we're now seeing is somebody who clearly is a student of the game. I mean, someone who knows how the game works, is able to work with players, and has learned from every manager that he's been with. I mean, and he is using the best of the squad. It'll be interesting to see how things develop. But no, I think that it's about the journey. I mean, and he has a set of players that he knows he can set out in certain ways and what they'll do. He knows he can put them out as a 3-4-3. I'm looking forward to next week already. But no, I think for David Gray, yeah, that's a man who learned after 20 minutes against Rangers that when you're playing a team that's going to try and fly at your the spaces to either side of your back three, that you drop in, you fill those spaces, and that knackers them up. Why Michelin never worked for that, I don't know. That's their fault. We'll take it.
Definitely. Just it was so buzzing for David Gray this morning. We launched an I Love David Gray T-shirt on our Redbubble store as well. So if you go and check that out, they're available for purchase. We also have a Hibs away, I like it T-shirt as well. That's out if you want to sort of keep the good vibes for the game going. Joe, I'll bring you in next. You'll be a happy man. Your man Levitt was outstanding last night. Yeah. What did you make of it?
Well, first of all, I'm glad I invested the 12 quid to watch the whole game with Solid Sport. And it was a really good production in terms of the angle the camera had for the whole pitch. Mm-hmm. It was most enjoyable. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole game. Hibs were great from start to finish. I mean, obviously we were going to be in the back foot and let them have the ball. And we were lucky they were not a bit more creative with it. The whole Hibs team played great. The whole Hibs team played great. Would you make any changes to it? Well, arguably, I think if Lewis Miller came back, I'd have him in instead of Chrissy Cadden. And our new £1 million centre forward, where's he going to fit in? Well, the only person's place he could take, in my view, would be Boyle. Mm-hmm. 9 out of the 11, you wouldn't replace them at all. The whole team was terrific, though. Even the two I've mentioned, the whole team played terrific. Well done, Hibs. Proud to be Ivy tonight.
Proud is a good way to put it. We had a situation where the Hibs were defending. I think I can't remember where I said it. Maybe talking to my son. I said the only thing that would stop us winning would be concentration going, because we played out our skin. It was like one of these proper backs to the wall performances, Joe. And I don't know, you've been watching the Hibs for a long time. Can you remember a game where we've been first to head or kick the ball away for the goal as much as we were last night?
And it'll be interesting to see how we reverse our tactics next Thursday night. I'm really looking forward to that, because they played that defensive plan very, very well. But we're obviously not going to play that way at Easter Road. Maybe be a bit cautious at the start, but be interesting to see what tactical changes Gray makes for the home leg. Because everyone, you read all the reports, everyone's taking it, Hibs got a draw away, but we'll do the business at Easter Road next week. Well, we all hope that, obviously, but the tie's not over yet, guys. That team's got a lot of good players in it. I think they're inexperienced. They're a very, very young team. Whereas if you look at the Hibs team, apart from Kieran Bowie, Hibs are all 25 or over. Hibs are fairly solid in terms of experience. So, yeah, I think the odds are with us next Thursday night, but it's not over till it's over, and I'm really looking forward to the game.
I thought it was interesting. The Gray was really keen to stress that in his post-match interview. I thought his post-match interviews, everyone that I've watched so far, I think word for word, he was perfect with them. How do you see him setting up next Thursday, Joe? What would you like to see him do?
Well, I don't know about the fitness of our new £1 million centre forward yet. If he's fully fit, I'd be tempted to start him and not play Boyle, personally. And if he was more fit, I'd play him instead of Chris Cadden. But other than that, you couldn't. The other 9, you've got to play them again. They'll play terrific.
Spot on. Ian, you've just joined us, and you're literally just in the door from Denmark as we speak.
Yeah, well, we've just been putting a bus in the airport, so I'll stay on mute for until it's noisy.
All right, fair enough. I'll leave you on mute now. Then I'll come back to Chris. Chris, I don't know if Ian could have got that camera any closer to his face. Chris, what do you think about David Gray's tactics? I quite like to get your thoughts and Jeff's as well, just for the job that Gray's doing and sort of how last night's performance sort of affects your confidence for the season going forward.
You know what? I really, probably other than maybe Celtic Park in the Scottish Cup, where I didn't think we really laid a glove on them, I don't think Gray's really got it wrong since we went to the 3 at the back. I don't remember a game where he's actually got it wrong. And there's an evolution within the squad, and there's an evolution within Gray as well. And I think there's something you referenced there about the concentration levels and the getting first to every ball. It's obviously something that's coached, because I recall Gray saying that about Bashiri, how he basically had to train him, get him fitter, hammer them in training on a Monday, Tuesday, so that they were fitter for the weekend. Therefore, the whole concentration levels for 90 minutes was there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another level to what he's seeing. He's obviously analysed. He's been around the club long enough to analyse the players in the squad to see that they weren't fit enough. And I know it's that old cliche when managers come in and go, these players aren't fit enough, etc. But he obviously has identified that, because we don't have that since he's got in, implemented his ideas and settled into being a manager, essentially, or first team coach, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He has got the players fitter, and then since that turnaround, we haven't really seen that sort of late on collapse like we would seen previous. I'm not just talking the previous 8-10 weeks when Gray was in charge. We're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years that we've had it. And I think that's credit to him. So I think moving forward, as I said last week, Gray will have a plan. And I think moving forward to Easter Road next week, I think we'll go at them, but I think it'll be more about us retaining the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And pass around the middle of the park and then really try to use the spaces when their fullbacks are coming on, trying to use the space in behind into the channels in behind them, because we were talking about them trying to use the space in behind our wing backs, but we actually didn't really try enough last night to get the space in there. Their areas when Mbabu, etc., were pushing forward. So I think that's something that Gray will probably look at next week with a view in the game. To be fair, I don't think he'll change much. I don't think we'll see any changes to the starting 11, if I'm being honest. I think the one change we might see throughout the game next Thursday is I think we'll see an Ellie Yuan performance coming in. I think that Gray will go to him and trust him to do, if we need it, to do something magical.
That's a really interesting show, because Yuan never came on last night, and I think that's I think you could be onto something there, because I could definitely see him impact. And John, you put your hand up.
No, I was just picking up on what Chris is saying there. The one thing, I only saw the highlights, so others might have a better idea. Their backline didn't look particularly fast. And I think the thing that showed that was Boyle. Now, he was really unlucky to be caught offside because the boy who was just about playing him on was in the middle and looked as if he was towing 3 train carriages trying to get back. You know what I mean? And the guy who was just off Boyle wasn't catching him either. So that was hopefully going to be something that we can exploit better. And the players maybe will. We have a week of debriefs, they get the same on us. But we have a week of debriefs and we've got players with pace on the pitch. That's what you're looking for. And if there's ever going to be a game where Boyle gets his 100th goal, I mean, next week would be absolutely perfect. But no, that was just a question in terms of what guys thought, whether I was just getting it wrong.
Yeah. And Jeff, what are your thoughts on David Gray?
Yeah, tactically, he identified that they obviously like to tippy-tappy around the box, try and get down the side, knock it back, and whatever his name was, the star forward, well, a couple of star forwards, but, tap it in. Every cutback, we had a Hibs player there. Every one. They never got one chance. The one chance they had was from a free kick, which the guy headed back across, and he headed it straight into Jordan's arms. So, great. He's also been drilling that defence to an inch of their life for this game. You can just see it. I'm talking about the 5, not just the 3.
Yeah.
But the 3 in the middle, especially when they got down the side, there was no space. If you remember against Rangers, they were cutting it back, and the guy was on his own on the penalty spot twice or 3 times. That didn't happen last night. They were on the ball. The midfield were on the ball. Nobody was sleeping. So tactically, yeah, next week, if the question was, what do you think he'll do next week? Keep it tight first half. Don't lose a silly goal. And then maybe second half, if we've, as somebody said, bring Ellie on, bring Thibaut on. What about, nobody's mentioned Nicky Cadden. Would you believe we played a whole game and not one person said, oh, why didn't we bring Nicky Cadden on? Who was he player of the season last year? He's gone, it's terrible getting old. I keep saying this every week, but yeah, nobody's, he's on the bench, never even got on. Ellie never got on. I'm sure there's quite a few others who never got on that you might have expected, but yeah. So
there's a player of the season from the previous year who kicked them all out, so it wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why. Yeah, I mean, Jordan's definitely, he's bigger, he's better in the air for the corners and the crosses, and he's better defensively. Although Nicky Cadden's no slouch defensively, when he's in that position. But yeah, so tactically, yeah, the big Bowie tried to hold the ball up. He roughed the defence up. Boyle was a nuisance. Jamie McGrath just hunted the ball down just behind them. Yeah, great, good.
Is this the point where you stop and you just let Joe come in, because there's one player we haven't spoken about yet?
I'm just about to I'm teeing it up for Joe. Don't worry. You just throw me off my stride there, John. Thanks very much. But anyway, yeah, Dylan just looked class when he was on the ball. I think what Davey in his post-match said, we could have done better in certain situations, and especially the second half when there was passes crying out to be made when we broke, and we didn't make the pass either early enough or didn't see it. And I think that was down to exhaustion. The players that were running with the ball, they just didn't have that extra zap in the legs. There's one where they could have knocked it out to Cadden on the right. I can't remember who was on the ball. It might have been Dylan, it might have been Jamie McGrath, but crying out for, So we made chances second half. It wasn't all backs to the ball. Yeah.
I think even their goal comes from, I think it's Mulligan, like a poor pass from Mulligan into Campbell, and really that should have resulted in a shot for us. Like at least it was a really good break. We'd got in a good position.
That's right, yeah.
And you think, they go up the park, Iredale makes a foul, and the next thing you know, it's one each. A few comments on Smith on the chat now. The chat's quite busy, so I'm struggling to keep up with it, and there's folk talking to each other, and that kind of confuses me even more when that happens. So I'll kind of pick out the themes, and apologies if I don't name check you with it. But Jordan Smith, Joe, he had a couple of really important saves last night, the point blank one in particular. I don't think he could do much with the goal that went in. Was that him securing his number one spot for the season until such a time that he does something to lose it?
Absolutely. And I know Hibs had to bring in another top-class goalkeeper, and thank you, Hibs, you've done that. But the other boy's going to have to wait to get his chance, just like Jordan Smith had to wait half the season before he got his chance last year. He's been so consistent since he came into the team. And last night just underlined the fact that he is our number one, although the other guy's been given the number one jersey. No question.
Brilliant. I'll bring Mikey. Mikey, welcome along.
All right, guys.
How's it going? What did you think of last night?
Oh, it was brilliant, eh? I've never been so nervous for a game, eh? I was like, after that goal went in, eh? And then like everyone said, maybe could have made it 2-0, maybe even 3-0, eh? And it was just gutting to lose that because am I right in away goals didn't matter anyway, eh?
That's a thing in the past now, unfortunately.
Doesn't it? Like we're just starting from scratch again, eh? Back on Thursday, but I was surprised with the first 20 minutes. Like we were right up at them. They kept making a few mistakes, and it looked like the game was ours for the taking. But obviously, they're going to come more into it. But like you were saying, it's all tippy tappy. It was the same as Luzerne. Eh? It's like, oh, they've got all the ball, but they want to like pass it into the net. I don't know how you felt with the free kick. I think Iredale maybe could have done a wee bit better if he was right-footed. I think he wouldn't have gave it away. And he's tried to use his left and wasn't close to it at all. But that boy that took it, he had a free kick earlier and he put it into like an amazing spot. And when he stepped up to that, I was worried, eh? And then you see the net ripple away, and you're like, it's just kind of the game's almost like you may as well not played the game, eh? It's 0-0 basically, but it was what a night it was, eh?
It looked like a cracking atmosphere as well. You've got your hand up. I'll bring you in. You're ready to come off mute, Ian.
Let's be up here. Sorry
There we
about that. It was funny listening. John, I had a lot of empathy with what John was saying about the fact that their coach should have known what we were going to do. John said, is he going to be watching us? And that was my thought as well, because it was a really great team performance with Michelin. They had really few chances, and almost the ones they had were the ones we allowed them to have from inside the box. So obviously the main thing was the great crowd and the support. I mean, the Hibs ticket pickup that worked really well. It was well organised, and it was brilliant. One Longbanger's viewer without a ticket. I guess his name was Grant. Apologies if it wasn't. He bought a Michelin top from the club shop as he didn't have a ticket, and then he bought a home ticket off a Hibby, which is brilliant. But the best performance last night were definitely Block 7. They were brilliant from start to finish. The atmosphere was almost like the last game at Paradise last season. That was when we first started singing That's the Way I Like It, and I think we sang it for most of us last night and at the end as well. It was good. The ground is like a 45-minute walk from the town, and some of the bars organised buses, but some people got big taxis, but others did the march. It was a really good march, singing all the way and walked back. The heat was absolutely amazing on the train coming in, and then I was talking to Brenda, whose man was Brenda's man took ill on the way from Copenhagen on Tuesday. He was still in the hospital yesterday, so I met about 8 Longbangers viewers, and they started to take a note of the names of too many to mention. But as John said, it was great tactics from the coaches, attacking from impressions from the start. So Midtjylland were definitely not expecting it, and the closing down was brilliant. It was full on, so Bowie and Boyle, and then even when Campbell came on, he was closing down at the same speed. But when Pudgy came on, he didn't do that, and he's supposed to be fast as well. So I thought the Kai Megla was a really brave sub. I thought it was a brave sub. Although Cadden didn't look knackered, Chris Cadden didn't look knackered, but Nicky Cadden would, I think, been a better sub than Pudgy. Just Jeff's point there, because I think he would have been a better sub than Pudgy, because Pudgy didn't offer anything when he came on. It was very interesting watching Josh Campbell coming on, and he immediately talked to Boyle. And we changed the tactics to doing what we did last year, most of last season, which was to do long balls from the keeper, and Josh just headed on for Boyle. It worked a couple of times, and it worked really well. But when Pudgy came on, it was funny because Smith obviously had noticed that we changed the man up front, and so he kept on punting it long to the smallest striker I think I've ever seen. I know Joe's just about to come on to it, but Levitt literally was fabulous. Attack and defence, he was brilliant, and Alessandro Mani was a very poor replacement for Dillon. So in general, the subs were necessary, and as Midtjylland, they'd introduce a lot of fresh legs, but apart from Josh Campbell, our subs didn't really relieve any of the pressure on the defence. But that's how David Gray was playing. He was deliberately giving them the ball, as Joe said. So, and really, Smith had nothing to do except a close-up high shot that he saved. I haven't seen the replay back of the free kick, which led to the goal, but I thought at the time it was Chris Cadden was out of position. But again, the wall didn't appear to jump very high, apart from Rocky, and I haven't seen it back. So maybe that's something they could work on better. Finally, I thought it was great because the Midtjylland supporters probably remember us. The only thing they'll remember us for is the amount of time we wasted, and Smith and Rocky wasting time and fighting over the ball and things like that. And it was a team effort to waste time. And the highlight was definitely Josh Campbell hiding the ball up his shirt during a stoppage of play. And he took it back to the halfway line to talk to David Gray, and not only to boot it back into our box when Smith had been told to get another ball. So, funnily enough, until today, I hadn't actually bought my ticket for Thursday, as I never get Hibs ticket emails. So I managed to get the South Stand today, but it was completely sold out. So it was a great experience. It was great fun. Hibs played very, very well,
Brilliant. I'll bring Mikey's hand up, and I wanted to get your thoughts on David Gray. I'll come Mikey first. I'll come back to you and just ask you about David Gray as well. Mikey.
Okay. Sure. Yes.
On Smith, all his saves are like easy as anything, eh? Like every time he makes a save, it's like he's just there. He doesn't dive for it or anything. He's just always there. It's mental how he just kens where the ball's going to be. You know what I mean? Everyone used to say that about Craig Gordon, eh? Like easy saves, all, but he kens. That's why it's easy, because he kens where to be. Smith's the same. He's always just right behind it every time. The free kick, he had no chance. Like,
aye.
I think that free kick taker he's just a good set piece taker. But Miles, everyone's talking about Levitt, and I thought Levitt was really good, but I was really impressed with Mulligan. I've not watched any of the friendlies. That was the first I've seen him in a Hibs top, and I was really impressed with him. He just always about, every time someone's on the ball, I was like, oh, who's that? Oh, it's Mulligan. Ken. So, but Smith and Mulligan were probably two of my standouts. Like,
Mikey, what do you think of David Gray and the job that he's done? Like, that was his first European ties as manager.
Like Ken, people are saying that's a Champions League team. You know what I mean? The way we set up at the start, and then we get the goal, and obviously, like, it's going to happen. You kind of sink back in. But I think he made a wee change, maybe like 20, 30 minutes into the first half, and we went more into like a 4-4-2 almost. And then in the second half, obviously we've sat deep, and then when they get the goal, we kind of changed it again, and I felt like we almost looked like we could have got a sit, we could have got another winner. The one where Mulligan just played it a bit too hard in front of Campbell. If he just hits that a bit softer, Campbell can come onto that nice, and that's usually where Campbell gets his goals, like running onto it like that. So we even could have won the game 2-1. So I think he's done well. He does do wee tweaks in the games. You know what I mean? Even without using a sub, he'll drop Boyle deeper, or I don't know, like when it was Triantis, like he'll maybe get him to go further out the pitch and all that. But I thought he set it up really well, considering like outside of Celtic, that'll probably be the hardest team we'll play, unless depending on how well we do on Thursday. But You know what I mean? That they'll be up there with Celtic, like.
Aye,
But
agree. Chris, your hand up. I'll come to you, Chris.
Mike, can I come in just now? Because I just sort of get a passport, just got passport control. I think in terms of David Ray, I thought he got the selection right, he got the tactics right. There was a lot he got right. I think he got the motivation right. I think he got the subs wrong. The subs didn't have the impact I think he thought they would have, apart from Josh Campbell. Josh Campbell definitely relieved the pressure of the defence, but I would say he's probably thinking about, the subs and whether or not they really did what he wanted them to do. Certainly Manny's going to have to improve because he was poor when he came on compared to the two he was replacing. And certainly Clichy was just a non-event up front. So I think David will probably have a feel about that.
Okay.
I'll just go off just now. And,
Aye. Thanks for joining us, Ian. Safe travel home. Chris, on you go.
Yeah, it was just a quick one. Like, obviously, we spoke about Jordan Smith, and I think one thing that was very evident last night is that any ball, and it relieved massive pressure, but is any ball he could come and take, he came and took that ball. Like, there was a lot of crosses came into the box that he just came and calmly claimed. And I think, again, it just took that pressure off the defence. And I think it's just another understanding thing. When he came into the team midway through the season, you could see, like, I think I mentioned it in one of the phone-ins, that you could see there was a lack of communication and cohesion between the back line and the goalkeeper. And then as towards the end of the season, you've seen that Smith was, even his starting position would be 10 yards further forward. And then just simple things. And it was another thing last night, it was very evident where he was there commanding that box and taking the pressure off when he needed to take it off. Just something I would put out there.
I totally agree with that. Joe, I wasn't sure if you were about to say something there. You looked like you were about to.
Two things. One, on Ian's remarks about Clichy. Everyone was all the time that he wasn't going to get a chance as a centre forward to shine in the short time he was on the park. One, but two, I mentioned I watched the game on Solid Sport and they had a good view of the whole pitch. And one thing that became obvious looking at the whole pitch was what a small team Hibs are. We are a very small team. Hibs are a small team. So when we're recruiting new people, I know that add one or two more, especially the crowd they had on in the last 15 minutes, Hibs were tiny in size.
Somebody shared on, I think it was Twitter, the size of Dundee United's new team. I think they've made about 11 signings or 12 signings, and they're all like 6'2" and up, I think, for the looks at it. So, Mikey, you got your hand up?
You were asking earlier about Trianta. I say that's where we miss Trianta. Because like every team's got 6'2" foot plus centre backs. And so you almost count them out because everyone's got them. So then you need to have height in midfield and height in up front for you to become a big team. And we've not got height in midfield with Trianta, and we've not got height up front with Kukovic or Deutsch, that we lost a few seasons ago. So I think that's, even if it's not Trianta, so I'd like us to get some height in midfield and some height in up front, and then it gives you options off the bench as well. If you're chasing a late goal, you can get all the crap footballers on to get the cup.
He done something, aye. Joe, I'll come back to you. So Andrew in the chat mentioned that Levitt's close to signing another contract. So you've been banging this drum for a while. He's in his last year. How important is it that Hibs act soon to tie him down? And do you think he will stay?
Going forward, he's had now having arguably the best spell of his career so far. We've got the settled three in midfield last night are there to stay, but what if one of them gets injured? We need to sign Triantis or somebody else in midfield, even if it's just as a top class cover, because as Manny and the others showed when they came on last night, we don't have the cover in midfield if anyone gets injured. That's my view. But what we've got is really good.
I think we forget Joe Newell will be due back at some point in the very near future.
Aye.
And you wonder where he fits in.
I forgot about him, actually. He's been out for so long.
I think Gray's point, and we've talked about it before when he was talking post-match about the team that starts is different to the team that finishes, and I think it's important that we've got players like Neil, who might not be a starter anymore, but he's there to kind of come on. Jeff, Dylan Levitt, what are your thoughts on the Levitt situation?
Yeah, get him signed up. Continuity, unless we can sign better than what we've got, which we probably won't do after the signings we've made already, and maybe get Triantis back. So yeah, definitely get him an extension, because one, we can sell him for money at the end of the year. More money. Wouldn't sell him for anything if he didn't sign an extension. Yeah, definitely sign him up. Somebody's mentioned about the height. Mulligan is not short. He's quite tall. So apart from Triantis and Kukarevic, basically got the same height we had last year. And Quan was quite tall, but I wrote him out of it because he was.
Yeah, he didn't play too often, did he?
He ran like he had his legs tied together. So Bowie's, if you noticed last night, Bowie won a lot of headers in the box, our box, not the other box. He's no small either. So yeah, we probably, apart from Triantis, I can't think of anyone else that would make a difference height-wise that's different from last season.
Bowie was excellent at taking the ball up the pitch and winning free kicks last night.
He was,
did a brilliant job at that. Just to go back to Levitt, Jeff, what's different in his game now than earlier in his time, and maybe the first 2 years and a bit at Hibs, where he wasn't getting such praise for the fans?
Well, if you remember when he started off the game against Lucerne, especially at Easter Road, him and Joe Newell were outstanding.
They were brilliant.
The pair of them, and we thought that's it. And then he got a bad injury in Lucerne, and he never seemed to really come back after that. Managers changed as well by the time he was fit again, and Monty obviously didn't trust him, and it took until Davy Gray took over for him to probably get a regular. And it took a while under Davy to get a regular spot, but once he got it, and for all of us that have played sport, it's confidence as well. Knowing that the manager believes in you.
Confidence is the whole thing that's transformed Levitt. Definitely.
Exactly. Confidence, a manager that believes in him. He's playing alongside players he knows. He knows the system. If he isn't playing his best football now, then he's never going to do it. And he's shown us that I think we've had this discussion before, but he was one of those players when we signed him. I was really excited. I was buzzing, thinking we've got an absolute gem here. So yeah, I just think it's confidence, manager, playing in a team. He didn't play, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't play in the team when we went through the bad spell, did he? I don't think he was in the midfield then.
He was in and out, like off the bench, wasn't he? Like never
off the bench and didn't look fit. My impression was he was fit but didn't look match fit and kept going off after 60 minutes when against Clydebank. Was it Clydebank we played, Albion Rovers? In the cup. He was really disappointing that day against really crap opposition. Never showed up, went off after 60 minutes, and I was starting to think maybe that's him done. I'm so glad that he's proved a lot of people wrong. And there's always a player there, but confidence, manager that absolutely trusts you, makes a hell of a difference. He was outstanding last night. He made a couple of mistakes, but against that opposition, you're going to do that. And in the heat and late in the game, before he got taken off, his legs had obviously, like a lot of players, they were struggling.
It was tough conditions. John, you got your hand up?
It was just picking up on what Jeff was saying about sort of Montgomery area. I think Levitt is one of those players that really suffered under Montgomery and sort of that pivot position he was being asked to play. Am I right in thinking he's the one that sclaffed the clearance against St Johnstone that the boy then rocketed in for about 30 yards? I mean, so he was put in a position in that team that wasn't his natural game, and it wasn't obvious what to do with the ball. I think one of the things as well that's changed this season, I mean, everything about manager support, confidence, but he knows where the players are going to be on the pitch. I mean, you can have that. I mean, he's got a lovely ping. I mean, it's people. I mean, my dad used to say that Alec Edwards had a really good ping in terms of a pass and the ability to pick out. I mean, and that's a player that comes to mind. I mean, when I see Levitt play, clearly Joe's the only one that can properly comment on that. But and sort of Jeff to some extent, that's what I see. Yeah, sorry, I'm making you younger than you are, Jeff.
I'll tell you what, other John. The one he really reminds me of, now he's playing in that position, is Alec Cropley. Got a left peg like him, got stuck in, and he is shades of Crops. That's high praise.
High praise indeed. Chris, you had up.
Yeah, like just again on Levitt, I think one of my concerns with Levitt had always been his ability to get round the pitch. Like it was always a concern of mine. I didn't think he was mobile enough, and I didn't think he was fit enough to be mobile enough, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Whereas I think the big difference, obviously, amongst the other things being mentioned, has been he looks fitter, he looks sharper, and he looks like he can get about the pitch now. Like whereas before, I just looked at him and goes, "You struggle, like you really struggle to get around the pitch to influence games." Whereas now, I don't see that, and I see a sharper player.
Mm. The influence was
He's
there. Sorry, John, you go.
6 or 7 games getting into the starting 11. He only played 60 minutes every time. It wasn't until the tail end of the season he was playing the full game, and now he's fully fit. You know, he's unwalkable.
I always thought with Levitt when he came in, he was too happy to let a game pass him by, and it might have been that thing that you're saying, Chris. It might have been a conditioning or a fitness thing. I always felt like it was mental as much as anything. That he was on the pitch but no real impacting it, and now he impacts the game. Like he's much more like evident and shown for the ball, and then when he gets it, he's much more much more of a risk taker. Like he doesn't just play the safe pass. He'll do something that impacts the game. Jeff,
just very quickly, when he was playing in Monty's team, we only played 2 in the midfield and we were getting overrun. So maybe we were doing him a disservice and he never impacted the game because Newell was something to do with the work of 2 players and Levitt alongside him. And it just clearly, it wasn't until we got beat by St Mirren at Easter Road, the 3-0 at half-time game, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Where they had another meeting and stuck an extra man in midfield. And I don't know if Levitt scored against Celtic the game after. So yeah, maybe we're doing him a disservice, but you're right. The game was passing the midfield by. We were just getting overrun.
Yeah,
Levitt was part of that problem, or the manager was.
Green Tea's hit like, guys. Yep, if you're watching on YouTube, please do hit the like button. Right, going to take us off of the game yesterday just for a few minutes. We'll talk about the new third kit that just came out. Just get your views on that, and then we'll wrap up and we'll have a wee look ahead to Thursday's game and maybe even get some predictions. So, Mikey, what were your thoughts? Third kit came out the night, the black and green.
I quite like it. I've not really looked at it too much. Just quickly on Twitter. I'm really like I like the purple and the yellows. I'm not a big black and white kit fan. I think Real Madrid are the most boring team ever to have a white kit and a black kit. Like, can what I mean? Get some creativity about each, but it's decent. Like, I think the home and the second are my favourite so far. Hoping we get the hoops for the.
I
one.
think we're expecting one on was it the 6th of August when we did the birthday. I think that's everybody's hedging their bets on there being another.
Just get them on right annoyed.
Jeff, you've gone for a black Hibs top tonight. What's your thoughts on the third kit?
Yeah, in homage to the new kit, I wore this. I think it looks. I need to see it in the flesh, like all of them, but it looks the bee's knees. And I'm a big fan of black kits done properly, and that appears to be done properly. Yeah.
I have to say that the black and I don't know if any follow Scott Miller from HSL on Twitter. He shared some pictures of the tunnel. You know, they've been upgrading the tunnel for the European games, and it's all black and green. That looked very very smart. Joe, have you had a chance to look at the third kit?
Yeah, so I can't comment. Sorry.
Fair enough, Paul. I hope you like it when you see it. John, what about you?
I think it's a fair kit, but it's our 150th year, so there's a bit of me thinks that the kits need to be held to a slightly higher standard. And I suppose what I'm trying to do at the moment is just wait to see what the 150th kit looks like. I mean, because I thought in the 150th year, our strips should be green, white, and black, or green, white, and gold. I mean, because green, white, and black is clearly traditionally what the colours we would put on our scarves. I mean, but we were created by the Irish Catholic community in the Cowgate, so green, white, and gold in our 150th year would be good as well. But we've got green, gold, and black. Now, clearly, 150th kit could be white, and that brings it all together. I mean, in the committee's work. So I think it's a nice kit. I mean, it reminds me of it's the reverse of the white kit from the other year. The Melkerson kit.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think there's a classiness about it. I don't think the collar looks fine to me. It doesn't have the big V-neck that'll make me look like I've got double D boobs or anything like that. It's nice, but yeah, the bar's slightly higher this year in terms of what the group of kits do.
John McGlynn said we'll get a fourth kit on the 6th of August, which I think is the rumour. Chris, what's your thoughts on it? You obviously get the green and purple one from last season.
I really like it. I get the whole anniversary kit stuff and that I do, but I do really like that kit. Like I'm a bit of a sucker for a pinstripe, if I'm being honest. I do like it, and the collar, it's got that wee sort of detail that I had in last year's away kit, where they sort of it sort of fades in to the strip sort of thing, which I really like. And like as you said, I'm assuming it is the 6th of August for the third kit, because that's sort of what the Hibs sort of released today when they put their wee mad notepad out there. So
Aye,
we'll see.
I noticed that the warm-up kit's like plain white with a harp on it, which is a smashing kit. That wouldn't have been too bad for a strip as well. Ian, it's good to see you back on it. I listened to another podcast called Top Flight Time Machine, and they sometimes do a wee feature where they're talking about things where folk just kind of pop up in unexpected places, and they kind of announce themselves by going, "All right, cunts," like that's like kid surprise. And everything you've popped up today, I've just thought in my head, just like, "All right, cunts."
No, there's loads of heavies coming through the airport, but also it was just really funny. Of course, there's people coming back from the holidays with the Ranger stuff and the Heart stuff on it. It's really funny. The good I really like the look of the kit. I really do. And obviously, when you're coming to any away game, especially abroad, then you've got to decide what to wear. And of course, I was going to go for my striped 8 and 76 top. I was going to go for that. But then I just looked too fat in it, and my wife eventually said, "Go for this one." And but I really like the black top. I really like it. I do hope they come up with something especially for the 150. I like the black one. I think the great thing about when you're here, there's people got the in-safe top. There's so many different tops you see, and of course some of them I was there around because I was in the States when they were coming out. And it was great. So some of the tops that were on display for Michelin were great. I love the black stuff.
Well, we will have for folk going away next time. We have got, as mentioned earlier, we've got a Hibs away. I like it. T-shirt release now. So right, let's
have been. You would have sold an absolute. You would have sold loads of them if you'd just been here last night. Yeah,
I know. Right, what we've got is the game on Thursday then. So last few minutes, let's get thoughts on how that game will go and the results. So Ian, while you've got the mic, I'll start with you and then I'll come around the rest of the guys.
I think we've got to assume that it's going to be exactly the same but in reverse. So I think they're going to come out and they're going to be better than I really think that they're a good team and they'll have worked something out how to break us down, because they certainly couldn't break us down last night. But we deliberately played the way we played, and so as I think John said a wee while ago, I think they'll have to play differently.
And a score prediction from you?
I think it'll be something like 2-2 or something like that. I mean, I really don't know. I just think they are going to play better than they did last night. They'll have to find. I think their pitch might be bigger than ours, though. I think it might be. I'm not checked. I just looked at last night, so I think they might struggle to get behind us. But I think it's going to be very tight.
Okay, Mikey, you're up next. How do you see it going on Thursday? And I'll give my score prediction.
I can agree with Ian. But I think they'll them seeing us, they'll can work to it a bit better how to break us down, and they'll be a lot better. But I would like to hope that we'll try and can be a bit more on the front foot. They will have the ball more, but if we can just try and be a bit higher up the pitch, I think we're usually good with offside traps, so hopefully try that. And I'll go, hopefully, let's say 2-0 Hibs.
Right.
Easy.
Just right, so before I come to you, Joe, and while I remember, because Kenny's asked, what was the BBC story? And I mentioned that at the top. So BBC, right, they do a sort of podcast every day. After Rangers played in their Champions League qualifier on Tuesday night, I think the podcast there was about 45 minutes, and then they did one about a similar length of time on Hearts and their Premier League Cup, group stage win And then last night or today's podcast was about 20 minutes with us and Dundee United combined. 2 of us playing in Europe. They're absolutely fucking farce for them. Anyway, Joe, Thursday night and a score prediction, please.
I think it'll be a real tough game. I'm going to go for 2-2, with Hibs winning in extra time with our new £1 million centre forward scoring the winner and becoming a die-in-the-world high B because of what he does then.
He'll score the header that Paco Luna never. John, what about you? Thursday and a score prediction?
I think we'll see Nicky Cadder in for Jordan Abita, which I think will give us an extra dynamic in terms of putting balls into the box. I'm looking at same as when we played Lucerne. I think we will be a bit better than them. I think we'll be edging at 2-1. Abita will have come on and he'll get another interception to run up the pitch to put it past the keeper to make it 3-1. Go back to European glory days.
Tremendous. Jeff, same question to you.
Yeah, I think 2-0 Hibs. They're a team that actually don't like having a lot of the ball when you read about them. They like to catch teams in transition and take us on. So we've got to be a wee bit careful because we'll probably have a lot more of the ball on Thursday. The other thing that was surprised at was our physicality. That I just read the article from the Observer. I mean, we're playing a Scottish team. We're going to be physical, Anyway, yeah, 2-0. But they're a good side. This tie's not over. I mean, they could easily win it 2-0, but I think they will get the tactics right. I don't think the team will change much. Maybe Nicky Cadden, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, 2-0, and our new £1 million striker will score the second goal. Don't think
nice one. First. We'll take that. Chris, you opened the call of the night, so we'll give you final word on it.
I think one thing that we've not kind of mentioned on next Thursday is we're going to sell it out.
Yes.
But I think it looks like another Athens atmosphere. Which I don't know how they've been a young side. I don't know how they'll handle that. Like that's a big thing that I'm going to take into consideration. I'm not sure they'll handle that, in my humble opinion. So I'm thinking it'll be a tough game. Absolutely. I think the crowd will carry us over the line. I'm going to be bold and say, LAUN winner. There we go.
Superb.
3-1.
I'm absolutely buzzing for it, like a sellout crowd, and for reasons we'll not go into because we're not going to have time. I missed the AK Athens game back in the day, so I'm due one. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be buzzing, and I fancy us to do it as well. Right, we'll call it a night there. John and Colin and I will be back on Sunday with Long Bangers, and of course on Monday we'll have extra time for subscribers where we'll do a proper preview of Thursday's game. As before, if you want to subscribe, you can go to Patreon or you can do it right here on YouTube. And don't forget to check out the Wee Red Bubble store as well for some cool looking t-shirts. Right, guys, thanks very much for coming on. Ian, I'm delighted you joined us on your travels back for Denmark as well. Looks like it's been planes, trains, and automobiles, or planes, trams, and automobiles for you. So safe rest of your journey, and we'll catch you all next time.